Afreximbank pour rang, grâce et qualité respectifs. La cérémonie d'ouverture officielle du bureau régional pour l'Afrique centrale de la Banque africaine d'import-export, Afreximbank, présidée cet après-midi par M. le Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement, Chief Dr. Joseph Diongouté, représentant du président de la République, son Excellence Paul Biya, prévoit les articulations suivantes. Exécution de l'hymne national, projection d'une vidéo introductive de la Banque africaine d'import-export, propos du président de la Banque africaine d'import-export, intermède poétique, discours d'ouverture officielle du bureau régional pour l'Afrique centrale de la Banque africaine d'import-export, Afreximbank, que prononcera M. le Premier ministre du gouvernement, représentant personnel du président de la République, chef de l'État, son Excellence Paul Biya, dévoilement de la plaque, séance photo et conférence de presse. Your Excellency, the Prime Minister Head of Government, honorable members of government and personnel ranking as such, the Governor of the Central Region, Head of Diplomatic Missions and International Organizations accredited to Cameroon, the Senior Divisional Officer of Funding Division, the President of the African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, all protocol duly respected. The opening ceremony of the official launch of the Central Africa Regional Office of the African Export-Export Bank, Afreximbank, chaired today by the Prime Minister Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph Diongouté, representative of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, will have the following sequences: singing of the national anthem, viewing of an introductory video of the African Export-Import Bank, statement by the President of the African Export-Import Bank, Afreximbank, poetic interlude, speech for the official launch of the Central African Regional Office of the African Export-Export Bank, Afreximbank, to be delivered by the Prime Minister, Head of Government, personal representative of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, the unveiling of the plaque, group photograph, and a press conference. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, je vous prie à présent de bien vouloir vous lever pour l'exécution de l'hymne national. Elle sera faite en musique. Excellences, Monsieur le Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement, Mesdames et Messieurs, je vous prie de bien vouloir orienter votre précieuse attention vers la vidéo introductive de la Banque africaine d'import-export qui sera projeté dans un instant.
In 1993, Afreximbank was founded with an ambitious mandate to transform Africa's trade and with it the lives of millions of people. It set about its all-important work, creating era-defining projects, mobilizing public and private sectors and innovating at every turn to make Africa better, stronger and more competitive on the international stage. Then, in late 2015, our current president took up the mantle, determined to build on the foundation laid by his predecessors to accelerate intra-African trade, power industrialization coast to coast, provide leadership in African trade finance, and deliver a financially sound and high-performing bank, and ultimately transform Africa's economies. He and his management team responded to the continent's needs, found resolutions through skill, partnership, and diplomacy, and stood by African nations in good times and bad. And the consequence, the number of participating nations went from 37 to 51. Afreximbank proved itself worthy of Africa's trust by supporting many African economies during the global commodity crisis of 2015 and 2016 and helping African countries deal with the impact of COVID-19 pandemic through its Pandemic Trade Impact Mitigation Facility and other COVID-19 interventions to meet the urgent need for food and medical supplies. Working in collaboration with the Africa CDC, AU Special Envoys and other partners, Afreximbank has put in place a facility of $2 billion to support African countries in the procurement of vaccines. Afreximbank became Africa's critical partner in bringing to life the historic African Continental Free Trade Agreement. We founded the biennial Intra-Africa Trade Fair to make the unified continental market a reality, the African Trade Gateway, a digital ecosystem to leapfrog obstacles to intra-African trade, and the Intra-African Trade Champions Initiative to help African corporates win and execute deals worth over $5 billion to lead Africa's transformation. In this same period, we expanded access to trade-related infrastructure, increased support for small and medium-sized enterprises, and in just the last 2 years, the bank has financed new manufacturing capacities worth over $1 billion. Afreximbank is also helping to transform Africa's industrial landscape by financing the development of industrial parks, special economic zones, and the creation of manufacturing capacities, creating an enabling environment for the smooth conduct of intra-Africa trade through the development of Africa Quality Assurance Centers in various regions, and leading the initiative to promote medical tourism within Africa by championing the construction of the Africa Medical Center of Excellence, which would directly impact approximately $20 billion annually in external payments for medical services. Afreximbank today leads the way as Africa's foremost trade finance institution. As at December 2020, we have onboarded 448 African banks, with 128 of them already participating in AfTraf, Afreximbank's trade facilitation program. Afreximbank's trade finance-related disbursements in 2020 hit $10.9 billion, narrowing Africa's trade finance gap by 13%. The lives of Africa's 1.2 billion people are being transformed steadily every day in so many ways, creating millions of jobs through our financing programs and investments in industrial infrastructure such as the Gabon Special Economic Zone Mineral Port, increasing port volumes from 1.7 metric tons to over 5.4 metric tons, improving medical care in Liberia thanks to Afreximbank's ultra-modern medical facility, and bringing hope to isolated communities in South Sudan through improved access to clean energy. Through these and many more projects and in pursuit of our continental mission, we did not compromise on financial performance and soundness. From 2015 to 2020, our net income almost tripled from $125 million to $351 million. Total assets and guarantees rose from $7.6 billion to $20.4 billion. The aggregate dividends declared to shareholders was $360 million US. And for the first time in 2019 and again in 2020, the bank's revenues exceeded $1 billion US. Whatever the future holds, Afreximbank will be ready to rise to the challenge, inspired by its mandate and its renewed commitment from African governments, determined to succeed, resolute in our commitment to foster an integrated continent with a strong industrial base serving the world's largest contiguous single market. The journey continues.
Merci infiniment. La disposition du panel ayant été revue à la dernière minute, les organisateurs n'ont pas eu le temps de prévoir un écran frontal pour les illustres personnalités ici présentes. Aussi nous demandent-ils de bien vouloir leur présenter leurs excuses les plus achevées. Merci beaucoup. Now I have the honor to invite Professor Benedict Orama, President and Chairman of the Board of Directors of African Export-Import Bank, to take the floor for his speech.
Excellency, it's Joseph Dion Ngute, the Right Honorable Prime Minister of the Republic of Cameroon, Honorable Ministers of the Republic of Cameroon, Excellencies, Ambassadors and heads of diplomatic missions and representatives of international organizations here in Cameroon, the Super Mayor of Yaoundé, Mr. Luke Messi Atangana, the Governor of the Central Region, Paul Biya, Naseri, members of the Board of Directors of Afreximbank, Executive Vice Presidents and Managing Director at Afreximbank, CEO of the Fund for Export Development in Africa, partner financial institutions and the captains of industry, my colleagues at Afreximbank, ladies and gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is nearly 2 years since we convened here in Yaoundé to celebrate the important milestone occasioned by the signature of the agreement for the establishment of Afreximbank's Central Africa Regional Office. That event came on the heels of the launch of the operational phase of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. It was an important event for us because the Central Africa region was the final piece in the puzzle for a full continental physical footprint of the bank. An important milestone for the bank to be fully positioned to support the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. It is thus with great honor and pleasure that we have returned to this organic city on a hilly forested plateau to bring back to life a journey truncated by a deadly pandemic. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, despite the uncertainties, we knew that this day would ultimately come. Because Afreximbank, and indeed all of us as Africans, is much stronger than the obstacles we confront as we chart our course for a better tomorrow. On behalf of the Board of Directors and management of Afreximbank, I would like to thank the government and people of Cameroon most sincerely for embracing with unwavering confidence the location of Afreximbank Central Africa Regional Office here in Yaoundé. We thank His Excellency President Paul Biya for his solid support to the bank and his aspirations to use Cameroon as a platform for the trade and economic integration of Central African states to the rest of Africa. Special thanks to Your Excellency, the Prime Minister, John Gute, and the honorable ministers who worked tirelessly towards the realization of the event we are marking today. When we visited here about 2 years ago, you honored me and your son and our colleague, Dr. George Elombi, with awards of the Knight of the National Order. So I return today to a land that has accepted me as one of its sons. We return with confidence and determination because we stand on a solid pedestal. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, beyond today's fanfare, we expect Afreximbank's presence and operations here in Yaoundé to have immediate and long-term consequences for Cameroon. In the immediate, it cements the bond of friendship and partnership that exists between the government of Cameroon and Afreximbank. It affirms Cameroon as the gateway into the sub-region of Central Africa and strengthens the positive image of the country in the region and beyond. The bank's presence here fosters direct and indirect connection with the Cameroonian private sector that by proximity will be exposed to the array of product offerings and opportunities that are bound in Afreximbank. Over the long term, however, by forming strong networks with local banks, Afreximbank will help to build a robust financial system that is capable of leading a national economic transformation agenda. In addition, Cameroon can become an intra-African trade hub for the Central Africa Economic and Monetary Community, CEMAC. Thanks to the iconic Afreximbank Africa Trade Center that will be constructed here in Yaoundé. The Trade Center will not only house the bank's regional office, but also a world-class hotel facility, a major conference center, a trade information as well as tech incubation center. It will also house other regional, continental, and global financial and development institutions. So we are grateful that the government has already granted us a parcel of land for this purpose. And for the CIMAC region, the opportunities couldn't be better and brighter. Today, at 22.5%, the CIMAC region has one of the lowest shares of intra-sub-regional trade of all regional communities in Africa. We believe that there is an opportunity to reverse that narrative. That is why we took the bold and took the immediate step of organizing a roadshow here in Yaoundé yesterday as part of this commemorative event. We assembled major banks, corporates, and SMEs in the region to announce Afreximbank's physical presence and introduce the suite of product offerings the bank has. It is the first of many such roadshows we will hold here in Cameroon and the rest of the sub-region in the coming months and years. These roadshows will open the opportunity for cross-border trade and investments, as well as stronger economic cooperation in the region. With the opening of this regional office, we aim to more than triple the bank's interventions in the Central Africa region to exceed $5 billion in 5 years. We aim to use the bank's investment and country risk guarantees to attract Africa direct investments as well as foreign direct investments amounting to over $4 billion in the sub-region over the next 5 years. We will expand the number of banks benefiting from the bank's trade services facilities in Central Africa region from 4 to 15 in 2 years, and expand their trade finance lines from $85 million currently to $500 million by 2025. Your Excellencies, we commend the effort of the Cameroonian government for fully embracing the AFCFTA and being a leading voice for continental integration. The AFCFTA holds enormous promise for one final attempt at industrialization and continental integration. We cannot let that opportunity slip us by. As Africa's premier trade finance institution, Afreximbank is strongly supporting the implementation of the AFCFTA. Through the regional office we are commissioning today, we will extend numerous AFCFTA enabling initiatives to the CIMAC region and beyond. We will, for instance, be in a better position to implement the AFCFTA Adjustment Fund in Central Africa. The Adjustment Fund is a fund that the AFCFTA Secretariat and the African Union are putting in place to make it easier for countries to manage the consequences of liberalizing trade amongst all African states. The fund will make it easier for potential beneficiary governments and the private sector to embrace the AFCFTA. And by being here in Cameroon, it will become easier for governments in the CIMAC region as well as the private sector to access that fund. The Pan-African Payments and Settlement System promoted by the bank in partnership with the African Union and the AFCFTA Secretariat and some central banks, is eventually piloting in the West Africa Monetary Region. We will continue discussions with the monetary region of the Central African states to integrate PAPs with their system so that payments for intra-African trade in African currencies made possible by PAPs will reach this region. PAPs would allow CIMAC countries to trade with other African countries in the CFA without the hassle of seeking for foreign currencies to support the trade. PAPs will make it easier collectively for the continent to save about $5 billion Africa currently transfers annually to others as payment charges. The bank's presence in this region will also bring a full array of the bank's other digital platforms, such as the Africa Customer Due Diligence Repository platform called the MANSA platform, the Trade Information Portal, the Trade Regulations Portal, and other platforms to the doorsteps of the people of the Central Africa region. With the bank's collaborative transit guarantee scheme, transporters in the region will be able to move their goods across multiple borders in Central Africa and beyond with a single transit bond, with the potential of significantly lowering transit costs in the region. We have to be aware that the Central Africa region has a few landlocked countries, and this facility will make it easier for these landlocked countries to trade more efficiently. The Inter-African Trade Fair will help showcase the trade and investment opportunities in the region, while enabling entities to forge productive business-to-business relationships. Your Excellency, we invite the government of Cameroon and the private sector to actively participate in the forthcoming Inter-African Trade Fair scheduled to hold in Durban, South Africa during November 15 to 21, 2021. This year's Inter-African Trade Fair includes a focus on the continent's youth, culture, and the creative industries, as well as the automotive industry. Our team of event managers and organizers are here with us and will be available to discuss specifics of Cameroon's participation, including the participation of the private sector here in Cameroon. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Afreximbank's Fund for Export Development in Africa, an impact investment vehicle, implements Afreximbank's equity investment mandate across Africa. The fund provides developmental equity and quasi-equity capital to companies that are involved in inter-African trade and export development and manufacturing. The fund is also organized to help attract foreign direct investment flows into the continent by helping mitigate the country risks that investors who are making those investments normally face when they consider investment in Africa. By acceding to the FEDA Establishment Agreement, African governments empower FEDA to intervene in sectors key to driving Africa's industrialization and export development capacity, resulting in increased export of value-added goods and services, increased investment in industrial infrastructure, promotion of trade with other African countries, job creation, and economic growth, among other benefits. We therefore invite the government of Cameroon to work with us on this journey towards the structural transformation of Africa by acceding to the FEDA Establishment Agreement. We stand guided by the principle that Africa will only be transformed if African states move in solidarity towards the achievement of its collective developmental aspirations, and that no member state should be left behind in the march towards a better future for our continent. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today we have laid a foundation for continued rapid economic progress in the entire Central Africa. We do so fully cognizant of the enormous expectation that accompanies it, and nonetheless hopeful that the trust and confidence you have reposed in us and the continued support the government and people of Cameroon continue to accord the bank will help us in pursuing our collective goal of transforming our continent. I thank the government again for the support in hosting this event and look forward to a strong and mutually rewarding future for Africa, for Cameroon, and for Afreximbank. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Merci beaucoup, professeur. Excellences, Monsieur le Premier ministre et chef du gouvernement, distingués invités, Mesdames et Messieurs, Monsieur Marc Alungue va partager avec nous une séquence de son répertoire poétique. Monsieur Alungue.
Every man lives by exchanging. Every breath requires inhaling and exhaling. Every dream grows by partnerships, and every nation wins by emerging. Whether nation or organization, government or institution, company or congregation, we are all in the same direction. There is a common mandate for which we are all candidates, and today is the official date for us all to be updates. So keep an open mind and let's hold hands, for when it comes to economic prosperity, it's time for Cameroon. It's time for Africa.
Forever. Cross the river in a crowd, and the crocodile can't eat you. One hand will never tie a broom. A single bracelet cannot jingle. It takes a village to raise a child. catch the spirit of the land and stand. We are but fingers of one hand. Africa, our motherland, our multicultural brand. It's like God visits everywhere else, but lives in Africa. Here where heaven kisses the earth, the stars gather by your side, and the creative takes you on a ride. But who called us third world? Who lost us into those words? Who created the chords? Who played the record till we all believed in one accord? Who called us black? Who made black mean lack? Who led us off our own tracks that we cracked, quenched our sparks and fell on our backs? Who took the godness of blackness out of black? Well, we did. We did when we forgot our history in a hurry and borrowed our own story. When we forgot our glory and majesty and allowed ourselves be branded with imagery of tragedy, misery, and disharmony. When we let catastrophe become our only, our defining story. But not anymore. Prosperity is our birthright, our culture, our copyright, our children, our first light. They'll shine through our midnight, our visions, our torchlight, our insight, our lamplight. For a developed Africa so bright, with peace without the gunfight. No fright, no flight. We all will stand upright. We will stand and fight every day until poverty and hunger are both out. Child labor will eradicate. Illiteracy will terminate. More jobs will create and more systems will innovate. It is our responsibility to rewrite our history, to take back our glory and tell our own story. Not a story of hunger and poverty, but of harmony and glory. Every mountaintop is within reach if we just keep climbing. I can see the edge of tomorrow. We face neither east nor west. We face forward. Let our children learn of heroes of the past, while we make ourselves architects of the future. Let ambition never, ever end, for Africa is the future. One Africa, one vision. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alungi. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I now have the distinguished honor to pray His Excellency the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph Dion-Gouté, personal representative of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, to take the floor for his speech of the official launch of Afreximbank's Regional Office for Central Africa.
Members of the Diplomatic Corps, the President of the African Import Bank, Afreximbank, the Governor of the Central Region, the Senior Divisional Officer for the Fundi Division, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor and a great pleasure for me to speak on behalf of His Excellency President Paul Biya on the occasion of the official opening of Afreximbank Central Africa Regional Office. Mr. President, on behalf of the Head of State, His Excellency Paul Biya, and the entire Cameroonian people, I wish you and your delegation a warm welcome to Yaoundé. Our political capital is a reflection of the entire country. The cultural diversity that characterizes it and the legendary hospitality of the people will inevitably contribute to making your stay with us a pleasant one. It is also an opportunity for me to stress that Cameroon is delighted to have been chosen to host this regional office. It is a very important mark of consideration. The massive presence of our country's representatives here today is proof of the interest we attach to the collaboration with this illustrious financial institution, of which our country is a founding member. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Afreximbank Central Africa Regional Office enriches the institutional architecture of our capital, which already hosts several representations of international, regional, and sub-regional financial organizations. I must say that it was after a very competitive process that the city of Yaoundé was chosen to host this office. Its opening was confirmed on 13 December 2019 with the signing of a headquarters agreement and a memorandum of understanding. Since then, the Cameroonian government has spared no effort to fulfill its commitments to make this representation operational. The Yaoundé Regional Office will thus be the hub for the bank's operations, activities, and projects in countries of the Economic Community of Central African States. It goes without saying that the rapprochement with Afreximbank will help to intensify this collaboration, which was already bearing appreciable fruits. In the case of Cameroon, we have benefited from significant support in financing certain projects in the past. I will mention, amongst others, a variety of loans that have been directed towards the refining of oil products and the productive sector. We have also received donations of vaccines for the fight against COVID-19. Excellences, distingués invités, mesdames et messieurs, le bureau régional dont nous célébrons l'ouverture officielle ce jour charrie de nombreux enjeux et espoirs pour le Cameroun et les autres États de l'Afrique centrale en termes d'accélération de l'intégration sous-régionale, de croissance économique et de développement. Comme vous le savez, nos économies font face à plusieurs défis qui se sont accentués avec la survenance du coronavirus. Le président de la République du Cameroun, son Excellence M. Paul Biya, a mis en exergue cette problématique lors de son discours d'ouverture à l'occasion du sommet extraordinaire de la Communauté économique et monétaire des États de l'Afrique centrale, tenu le 18 août 2021. Le chef de l'État s'exprimait en ces termes, et je cite, « Avec l'apparition de la pandémie du Covid-19, les équilibres macroéconomiques et budgétaires se sont détériorés. La dynamique d'évolution de nos réserves d'échange a faibli. notre intégration régionale a produit insuffisamment des effets d'entraînement sur le commerce intracommunautaire. Fin de citation. Le commerce entre les États de la sous-région en particulier et tous les pays africains en général se présente donc comme un levier important de la relance durable et de la consolidation de nos économies. Le rôle central que joue Afreximbank dans le cadre de ce processus n'est plus à démontrer. L'une de ses missions étant de promouvoir l'expansion, la diversification et le développement cohérent du commerce africain. Avec l'avènement de la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine, nous avons bon espoir que l'atteinte de ces objectifs se situe sur la bonne lancée. Distingués invités, mesdames et messieurs, à la faveur de la déconcentration de ces activités, Afreximbank entend sans doute apporter une réponse plus ciblée aux préoccupations des États de la sous-région. J'invite en conséquence les administrations publiques et entreprises concernées à tirer avantage de cette opportunité pour soumettre des projets d'intérêt susceptibles de bénéficier de financements pour le développement durable de nos économies respectives. Au moment où le bureau régional d'Afrexim prend corps, je voudrais réitérer la très haute importance qu'accorde le chef de l'État du Cameroun au plein épanouissement de cette institution dans notre environnement. Je demande donc aux responsables de cette banque de se sentir chez eux au Cameroun. Les autorités de notre pays resteront disponibles pour toute sollicitation éventuelle. C'est sur cette marque d'engagement que je déclare solennellement ouvert le bureau régional d'Afreximbank pour l'Afrique centrale à Yaoundé. Vive la coopération africaine, vive le Cameroun et son illustre chef, son Excellence Paul Biya. Je vous remercie pour votre bienveillante attention.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the Prime Minister, Head of Government. Excellence, Monsieur le Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement, distingués invités, nous sommes sur le point de passer à la dernière phase de la présente cérémonie. Il s'agit de dévoilement de la plaque, séance photo, conférence de presse, cortège, et puis un dîner ce soir à 19h, ici même à l'hôtel. Je voudrais à présent très respectueusement prier son Excellence, Monsieur le Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement, ainsi que le professeur Orama, de bien vouloir se lever pour le dévoilement de la plaque. Nous prions les deux illustres personnalités de bien vouloir rester sur place pour la séance photo qui va immédiatement suivre. Après, La deuxième séquence prévoit une photo. Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement, professeur Orama, les membres du gouvernement ici présents, le gouverneur de la région du centre, ainsi que le préfet du département du Fundi. Oui, pas de souci. C'est la deuxième séquence. Oui, oui, un peu. Les personnalités à l'estrade sont priées d'y rester. Elles seront rejointes par le top management d'Afreximbank. Le top management d'Afreximbank. Afreximbank. Nous prions les membres du conseil d'administration d'Afreximbank de bien vouloir se joindre aux personnalités présentes à l'estrade. La séquence qui suit prévoit une photo uniquement. Premier ministre chef du gouvernement, professeur Orama et l'ambassadeur d'Égypte au Cameroun. Je fais ce qu'ils ont demandé. Ce sont eux qui ont demandé ça. Nous prions Monsieur l'ambassadeur de la République de Guinée équatoriale de bien vouloir se joindre aux personnalités à l'estrade pour la photo. Les autres membres du corps diplomatique sont priés de rejoindre l'estrade, s'il vous plaît. Ce sera la dernière séquence. Je remercie les photographes ainsi que les caméramans et les prie de bien vouloir se retirer. Nous prions également Son Excellence Monsieur le Premier ministre, chef du gouvernement, ainsi que les autres hautes personnalités de bien vouloir rejoindre leur place. Alors que nous tendons vers la fin de la présente cérémonie, je voudrais, avec la permission de son Excellence, Monsieur le Premier ministre chef du gouvernement, annoncer que juste après le départ de l'illustre personnalité qui préside cette cérémonie, nous aurons une conférence de presse. Cette conférence sera animée par 3 personnalités. Monsieur le ministre du Commerce, Monsieur le ministre délégué auprès du ministre des Relations extérieures, ainsi que le professeur Orama, président d'Afreximbank. Je vous remercie pour votre bien aimable attention. À présent, je voudrais très respectueusement prier son Excellence, Monsieur le Premier ministre, de bien vouloir clôturer la séance.
Businesses are working together like never before. All new on CNN Connect. Businesses are working together like never before. All new on CNN Connecting Africa.
Join me, Eleni Jokas, as we crisscross the continent to show you how new connections between people, places, and projects are revolutionizing commerce in Africa.
All new Connecting Africa. Sunday on CNN in association with Afreximbank.
We are on a mission to transform our continent and empower African trade to thrive. By accelerating the next generation of African businesses, we can grow stronger, trade further, and transform together. We're bringing Africa together. Afreximbank, transforming Africa's trade.